Nope.
Ooh,
But we'll go with that.
Boom, we are in the building. Okay. No.
No, but I started.
No, that's me learning the switchboard here at the studio.
Yo, it is time that we talk. Yep, there's so much going on, so much being seen, heard, and felt, but what's missing is perspective. Yep, and your fave, your boy, CO, is here to provide the space, the opportunity for you to weigh in. And with that, we're going to touch on some of our other joys. That's music, fitness, pop culture, mixed with a little bit of foolery. Yeah, the CEO Podcast, our perspective, our show. Let's get into it.
Studio
We're gonna label them
Pod
for you.
Stew. So yes, guys, we are back in the building, part 2, because part 1 was well received. It was a good conversation starter. Okay, I engaged in a lot of conversation about the topic. I'm struggling over here fixing my hat. Matter of fact, it was such a good conversation that after we record part 2 with the ladies, I have my all guy panel that's coming in tonight, and then they're gonna weigh in. Yeah. I know, right? So it's gonna get real interesting. But
I have a question though.
yeah,
So,
to it.
is this all guy panel that's coming in? Is the question gonna remain the same, or
Yeah.
are we flipping the question?
Same questions. So they had an opportunity to hear part 1. They will not have an opportunity to hear part 2. However, the questions will remain the same. So that way they can still answer everything that you guys answer. And here's the thing, right? It was really interesting. A guy who I did invite, he heard about the topic and he opted out. He was like, I don't know if I could speak to it. I know, right? It was interesting because I tried my best to get him to come in. I'm like, yo, I think the fact that you feel weird about the topic is interesting. And I would love for people to just witness you work through it and just have a conversation and see how you respond to the other guys in the room. But he was like, you know what, I'm gonna opt out. And I'm sharing that because again, the topic is so strong and it's such a point of contention that people feel weird about having the conversation altogether. What are your thoughts about that?
Listen, I hit you up after.
I know.
Listen, this was a good conversation for me and one of my friends, and so when I initially asked him, by the way, this is China. When I initially asked him the question, he was like, "Huh?" Like he had to hesitate on it.
Yeah.
He was like, "Let me think about that before I answer it." And
I
so
appreciate that.
he was like, "I don't want to just respond." And he was like, "Let me think about it." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, it's no pressure or whatever. Take your time, like, whatever." So he was like, "I'm going to call you back." And so he called me back, and we started to talk about the conversation, but this was prior to him hearing the podcast. And so I was like, well, let me give you some background on where this came from, because I didn't just randomly come up with this. Like, this has been a topic of discussion, and this is what I was talking about on the podcast or whatever. So I sent him the clip, so he listened to it. And he called me and he was like, let's go. And when I say we were literally on the phone, I took a screenshot of how long we were on the phone. We was on the phone for like 2.5 to 3 hours talking about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
You hear that,
Yeah.
creators?
Yeah.
That's what we do here, man. We start conversation, much needed conversation. So, real quick, before we dive into it again, I want to introduce my ladies. We don't have everybody back, okay? So we're only actually missing one person. Uh-oh, we got a call coming in. This is one of the guys. This is all happening real. So, one moment, ladies. I'm going to hold you because I know he's trying to figure out where to go. One moment. Jerry. Yes, and you are live on the podcast right now because I have 2 guests on the back line that is recording with the all ladies panel. So are you good? Okay. And the ladies are excited to hear your perspective, so make sure you be here. Where you at? You good? You found the studio? Yeah, bring your mask. All right, see you soon.
Literally.
Look at the evidence. The evidence. That's crazy.
Literally.
Okay, so round 2, we have Elena back, we have China back, we have Leah on the line, on the phone line. For those who are watching the footage, I still haven't figured out how to feed in the audio from our callers. So if you don't get to hear their perspective through the camera, it will be online on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So that way you can hear from Leah and Jeronica, okay? I'm going to write that down. That may be something that we need to unpack. Now, switching gears, diving straight into it, because I only have you guys for a little bit. A lot has happened since the last time we worked together. One of the main things that happened is my perspective changed greatly. So I want to thank you ladies again for sharing. I did a recap about the things that I learned after our last conversation. It was a podcast episode. I just released it last night, so feel free to check it out and see how you guys impacted me in a positive way, okay? And then in addition to me changing my perspective or my perspective evolving, better said, is we had the situation reveal itself with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. This was huge for me because I shared with you guys last time, coming into the podcast, I struggled with understanding, much like your friend, China. And then when the situation unpacked or revealed itself with Tory Lanez and Megan, I'm like, yo, this is a prime example of how black women would look out for the greater good of men in a situation where they're even being like attacked or mistreated. And again, I had never really saw that happen in my personal life. Saying all of that to say, I want you ladies to weigh in on what happened with the Megan Thee Stallion situation and Tory Lanez and how that ties into the topic of what it means to protect the black woman. Anybody, y'all can just go for it. Introduce yourself and then weigh in. You can come in, Jerry. You're gonna be next. Y'all welcome Jerry to the building for the next round with the fellas.
What's up? All right, so with the Megan and Tory situation, watching her video explain her thoughts and explaining her actions throughout the situation, it brought a better light because honestly, my first thought was she was protecting him not because he was a black man, but only because we rolling together, you my partner.
Right.
I'm gonna protect us, you know what I'm saying? Especially with what's going on today.
Yeah.
Male or female, like, we ain't going down, you know what I'm saying? Like, we in this together, literally, ride or die, in the moment. And so, when her video came out, I was like, this is prime example of the female protecting the black man. And she was just so passionate and adamant about everything that she was saying, and I was like, dang, that's real, you know, that does open up a different perspective to everything. And then are we going into as far as for like what recently happened, like yesterday, what was released?
Oh, when he apologized?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
hit it all.
I didn't see the messages and everything, but from my understanding, it was announced and released that he apologized via text 15 hours to a day after the situation had happened. So that apology had been there prior to this video.
I didn't know that.
But
exclusive.
but of course that wasn't released to us, so we didn't know that he had been apologized. So it's appearing as though, this is me collecting from what I saw. Yeah. The video of her saying everything that she said, that happened after he supposedly apologized. No acknowledgement of his apology was there. I ain't really rocking with the apology or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it could have been him. She probably didn't have her phone. She didn't see it. Whatever. I don't know what the case may happen. I don't know what the case was. However, I will say is text don't have no tone. Right. And if something like that went down and you were genuinely apologetic about it, that deserves more than a text message. Yeah. That is definitely a phone call. That is definitely a FaceTime. And if you know that somebody is out there about you not protecting them, you should be able to come out and vocally say, no,
Yeah.
I was there to protect you. I am, I do apologize.
Yeah.
Especially if it went public. You should
Yeah.
be able to be man enough to, or person enough, whoever, to come public as well
Yeah.
and defend your name.
No, that apology was trash.
For real.
Like, I don't
For
care.
real.
I don't care if she saw it the minute it came in. That apology was trash. For you to use the excuse that I was too intoxicated and that's why I shot you, young man, little boy, where's your mama?
Text don't have no time.
Because
Text.
it ain't even about a text message. It's about the actions that happened before the text message. I could give two turds about that text message. Seriously, you send me a text and you shot me because you was drunk? Brother, you better be glad these hands ain't meant for a man.
Woo.